What you might have missed over the weekend, Michael Sowers and Princeton beating second-ranked Virginia on Saturday, 16-12. Sowers, 4 goals, 4 assists. He now has 33 points in 3 games this season. Princeton's 3-0. Chris Gray also had a day, a career one at that. Career-high 8 goals in North Carolina's dominating 17-10 win over Johns Hopkins. He now has 27 points in 4 games thus far this year. So a weekend where the top 2 teams lose is always a big one in lacrosse, no matter what time of the year it is. Let's start with Yale and Penn State. Does it just feel like at this point Yale has Penn State's number with these guys?
I think as long as, Yale has TD Ireland, they do for the time being. Gerard Arceri is a great faceoff man for Penn State, but that matchup, TD has it. First 8 faceoffs of the game, TD won. It really allowed Yale to get that lead early on, and they never looked back. Penn State was playing catch-up the whole time. Yeah,
for sure. And it felt like the defenses were a little bit better this time around, maybe more ready for each other. It seemed like they were more prepared than they had been. Maybe, I don't know if they weren't prepared, but it seems like they could game plan a little better now they've seen each other a couple times, right?
Exactly. They've seen each other so much. They've had so much experiences against each other. There's no surprises in this game. They know who their guys are in each team, and they try to find new ways to beat them, and I'm sure that's what Penn State's going back to the drawing board now.
Yeah, a lot of the same faces. I don't think Penn State's going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think they're still going to have a pretty good year, but interesting to see as we move forward here. So that leaves room now for the number 2 team, Virginia, who would have moved up, but then they lose to Princeton. Michael Sowers, he's been incredible through 3 games, and it almost feels like this might be the year, as he hasn't had that year where he made the big tournament run or anything like that. It might be one of those times where this is just willing the team to make a little bit more of a national statement, and Sowers doing that at the same time too for Princeton.
I completely agree with that. The first couple games, Princeton wasn't really tested, and this was their real first test, playing defending national champions.
On the road.
Virginia, at Virginia, exactly. And, they passed. Michael Sowers, if anyone didn't think he wasn't the real deal before this, really, he showed, playing the defending national championships, he's able to take over that game. And exactly like you said, he's a senior this year. He wants to make that playoff push. He wants to make that NCAA tournament push, so it's going to be exciting to see moving forward.
Yeah, and you look on the Virginia side of things, I don't think I'm really worried about them, because this is sort of how they played all last year. They played a bunch of close games. They won a bunch of games in overtime and then got hot for the tournament, and they've got all those same guys back. So while I think there are some red flags, you might want to say, on the defensive side from guys they lost a year ago, I still think Virginia at this point has enough talent to get back and be okay, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, they're loaded still.
Yeah, another thing that stuck out, too, from the weekend, Chris Gray at North Carolina, another team that hadn't been completely tested just yet, 3-0, and Gray had done pretty well. Then they go and dominate Johns Hopkins, and I think that he had 8 goals, which to me sticks out a lot, because Gray, to me, he hasn't missed a beat from going to BU and then going over to North Carolina. He is the real deal, in case anybody was doubting. I know we'll see once we hit ACC play, but he's been really good so far.
Chris Gray is the real deal, and like you said, he hasn't missed a beat. He seems to be fitting in really well, and I'm sure UNC's loving having him. 8 goals, 1 assist against anybody is impressive, and against Johns Hopkins, that's awesome for him and awesome for UNC. Great win, for them to get.
Then you look at Merrimack as well, a team that I remember talking to them before this year, moving up from D2 to D1, 2-time defending champs in D2, and they felt good about competing, and you saw that in their first 3 games. They lose by 1, 2, and 3 in back-to-back weeks. No matter the competition, you're moving up a level, and then they win today against Michigan. No matter who the competition is, they get their first win this soon and be this competitive, I think says a lot about that program and how talented they are, and maybe could be in Division I years down the road.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Merrimack. Beating Michigan, Big Ten team, and especially because Michigan's a newer program as well, and but they've had time to get their recruits developed, have that Division I funding, play in the Big Ten, and Merrimack, they said we don't care about that. We're moving up from Division II, Division I. We might take our welts along the way, but they want to compete with anybody. Playing against a Big Ten team this early in the season, I'm very impressed with them getting that first Division I win. Congratulations to Merrimack College on that.
Yeah, really cool. And Danny, we got to throw in Villanova. They had one of the best weeks out of anybody, right? You beat Maryland, and then you go on the road and beat Hofstra. That's a pretty good week for Villanova after playing such a tough schedule to start the year.
Great week for Villanova, going from 0-2 to 2-2.
Yeah.
I'm looking for them to re-enter the top 20.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
They better keep it rolling though.
Hey, you don't forget last year Penn had a really tough schedule to start, lost their first 3 games, and came back and were big contenders as the year went on. I'm just saying, little similarities.
I think their first win was against against Villanova.
I think that's also very true. All right, Danny, thank you so much. Looking forward to next week.